So in addition to Boolean operators, we have arithmetic and comparative operators as well. And I'm going to explain those to you. So arithmetic operators, we've looked at some of these already. We've looked at plus and minus, and they do what you expect. They add and subtract. Multiply and divide are given by these symbols. And then with this row here, the first operator is the modulo operator. This gives you the remainder. So if I did something like var x equals 5 mod 3, this gives me 2. So it's the remainder of 5 divided by 3. And of course, you can put other variables in place of the 5 and the 3. Okay. Plus equals is shorthand for x equals x plus y. So let's say you had this statement. Okay, so here x is being assigned the value 8. That's literally equivalent to saying that. Okay, so it's just really a shorthand notation. There's nothing special about that. But you'll see it in code, so you want to know what that is. And the same goes for the minus equals. Another shorthand operator that's arithmetic is the plus plus. So this will actually increment by 1. And what's interesting is it shows 5 here, and that's just because the plus plus only gets evaluated at the end of the statement. So don't be too concerned about that. If you printed this out to the console, the value of x plus plus is 5 now, but it's 6 here, okay? This is what's called the postfix increment. If you change this to this, the prefix increment, then it becomes 6 immediately before the rest of the line is evaluated. But this is important to know because a lot of times you'll see plus plus, usually postfix in code, as shorthand. And this is really the same as x equals x plus 1. Okay, it's the equivalent. So those are the arithmetic operators. We also have comparative operators. Now comparative ones, we've used these as well without fully explaining. The first one to know about is the double equal sign. Okay, so this will compare two values. And then the result of this is a Boolean value, right? So x equals y, and it's just saying, give me the result of comparing the exact values of x and y. Are they equal or not? And the result here is false. Okay, so the thing is you can use these in if statements, and we have used these in if statements before. And so that's really where a lot of the power is for these. And you can store them in Boolean variables as well. So equals equals tests for equality, not equals tests for non-equality or inequality. Greater than, less than or equal to, less than or equal to, greater than equal to. Those all do what you expect, and we've used these before in if-then statements. Okay, but the key thing is that they take two values and evaluate to a Boolean value, and this Boolean can then be used in, say, an if statement. Now, what if you combine and chain together a bunch of these operators, particularly the either arithmetic or comparative ones? Let's start with arithmetic. So say you have a statement like something like this. Actually, let me make it a little simpler. No need to be that crazy about it. But let's say you have something like this, okay? What actually happens? So this kind of statement, if you remember from your algebra days, there's an idea of operator precedence, or order of operations is what they called it. And with order of operations, you might remember that multiplication and division happen first, okay? And subtraction and addition happen second. So you would have to evaluate this expression here first. And so in algebra, that would mean the answer is actually 5 minus 6, which is negative 1, plus 2, which is 1, which is what we see here. Okay, so it's not 5 minus 2, which is 3, times 3, which is 9, plus 2, which is 11. Okay, 11 is wrong. This is just the same as algebra, and Swift generally follows these kind of conventions, but there can be some ambiguities. So there's a whole chart in the documentation about operator precedence, and if you ever get confused in code, you want to look at that and just make sure, especially when you're reading code. When you're writing code, just know that just like in algebra, you can always use parentheses to disambiguate, to really make clear what the order of operations is. Okay, so this doesn't change the answer at all, but at least I'm making it very clear to the reader, okay, I want to multiply first before I do those other things. And just to be clear, everything else that's outside of the parentheses gets evaluated just left to right. Again, just like in basic algebra. Now, the same holds true for comparative operators, like if you're trying to string together a big if statement. Comparative and Boolean operators together, say. I mean, I'm just typing random things here, but the point is if you're trying to chain together this expression, it's not really clear right away what's going on and how things are evaluated. So try to use parentheses if you want to make sure that, say, this gets grouped first before this second half gets evaluated, okay? And one more comment on comments. We haven't really talked on this, but you'll see this a lot in code. Double slash allows you to type comments, which allow you to just type in free text just to decorate your code and make it easier to explain things in your code. Something very useful.